like a Mustang. See ya. I got a watch on my wrist, it's a bust down. See ya. I'm tryna hop on a flight out of town. See ya. But I sent my baby to bring it around.
Y'all, what's up? Happy Friday. Let's go. It is Friday. I am Danny Marie, your podcast bestie. It's Friday. I hope you guys are having a lovely day. I am. I'm already with the feels. You guys, another week. Can you guys feel that 2026 is just blazing through? I'm coming in today with all of the energy. Thank you so much for your love, your light, your prayers, your well wishes. Some of you guys hit me up and called me. I miss some of you guys' calls on Messenger, but I appreciate you for trying to penetrate through, and you got to my heart. So if you don't know, I was talking about needing a blood transfusion, and many of you reached out because I was kind of trying to contemplate which of the 4 options I was going to do. So it was a blood transfusion, it was take some supplements, it was add fiber to my diet, or something else, y'all. But overall, what I have decided is to take the meds first and then work on my fiber and my workout regimen. And then if all else fails, or in 3 months when I'm supposed to go do a follow-up, then I will go back and do the blood transfusion. Because surprisingly, a lot of you have experienced needing a blood transfusion before. I have not. So that gave me some courage. Let me know I'm all good. But like I said, they just kind of give me the heebie-jeebies right now in this season of life, especially with so much loss that I've already experienced in my family. I just don't want to have anything to do with anybody's ER, anybody's outpatient, anything, anybody's hospital. I just don't want to deal with it. But I need to pull up my girl panties and go ahead and do what I need to do. But I will start with natural remedies first. So thank you for those of you, again, who sent your well wishes and prayers and reached out. And I am going to be returning some of your calls later today. All right, so today we're doing a podcast debriefing, meaning that we're talking about everything that we've talked about in the past 2 weeks. I think I've been going at this every day for 2.5 weeks, and I'm coming to you live, talking to you about different things to activate, different things to cross over, different things to collaborate, different things to help you on your podcast journey. And if you don't know, I am Danny Marie, your podcast bestie. Here, I help podcasters and creators build, grow, and monetize their platforms, while also helping businesses and advertisers learn how to leverage podcasts to connect with real audiences and drive real results. Because this isn't just about podcasting, it's about building something that actually works for everyone involved. Now, today, like I said, we're talking about everything that we've spoke about on live so far. Also addressing some things that maybe you haven't heard on live yet. If you go back and watch any of those lives, please comment the word replay and let me know where you're watching from. I would love for us to stay in touch. Please also make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notifications bell if you're watching on YouTube, so you never miss another one of these episodes. And I think when I get back from Black Effect Podcast Festival, which is happening next Saturday, then I will make this a recurring thing that I do, a daily podcast briefing, something very short, sweet, and to the point, so you guys can get the news from me first, and then you guys can jumpstart your day. And I'm on the Pacific Coast, the West Coast, the Pacific Northwest is what I was trying to say. So some of you guys will already be up before I get a chance to debrief you. But because you guys are going to be having your first break by that time, then I think spending your break with me, giving you your podcast debrief, and some AI and business related stuff in there will just be the perfect thing for you to do. So stay connected. Let's jump into it. This week, this is the industry. This is the week that the industry was talking, and not quietly either. And if you're a podcaster trying to figure out your next move, then this was one of those weeks you were supposed to be paying attention. But if you didn't, it's all good because I got you. So I'm going to debrief you the real version, not just what happened, but what it actually means. First segment, and before we jump into the segment, do you know we're going to be meeting up next Saturday in Atlanta? I think I already said that. I said that already, but I just have to let you know. I've been saying it for the past 2 weeks. We're meeting up in Atlanta, and we're going to pull up at the podcast festival. Shout out to the Black Effect Podcast Festival. We're going to be pulling up. We're going to be coming with our podcast crew. We call ourselves the Podcast Peeps. We've been meeting as a community for like a year now, but even before this particular version of the community happened, we've been meeting with one another in passing, collaborating, and those types of things for the past 2.5 years, many of us. But I've been podcasting for like the past 5 now. So some people I've met even before, 2 years ago. And I'm trying to share this with our group as we're talking. By the way, if you're not a member of our Facebook group, then you should totally join us. And as a matter of fact, let me just show you guys what I'm talking about so you know right now. So you can join it. And I'm going to try to drop this in the chat so you won't say, hey, I couldn't find your group. There's no excuses. I'm going to share the link. Don't worry. I got you. All right. So back in, I think last month, I mentioned that my group, back in February, actually, I mentioned that my group of 3,200 members had gone away. And so we were already building behind the scenes this other space. So you guys help us get to 3,000 members again. We have about 300 as of yesterday's date. We reached our 300 mark. I'm okay if we don't get to 3,000 because I'm very particular about who I give access to the group. But we're building, right? Community first. I'm so happy for all of the people who have found us, but we want you to come in. You're invited to join us too. So this is a quick glance of the podcast support group for indie podcasters. You are invited. I'm sharing the link with you now. I'm going to try to drop it in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll definitely see this. And if you're watching on Facebook, you should definitely see this. But I'm sharing the link in the chat so then you have access to our group. Just hit that link and I will let you in. All right, but let me start sharing. Let's get into the content. Let's get into it. By the way, I never had a chance to add the vocabulary word of the day. But again, you've heard it already if you've been paying attention because we're just doing a recap of our week. So the word is proximity. And I tried to give you a word to reference podcast terminology so that you can then become adept and you understand your industry like I do. And that's the reason for me doing my lives. So the word of the day is proximity. And I want you guys to start typing in the chat what you believe the word proximity to mean. And if you've been paying attention, this should be easy, but I'm going to type it and I'm going to read out loud. And how does this relate to the conversation? Okay, actually, there's a segment for that down below. So we'll get to it. But yeah, let me just say that for later. We'll get to it. Okay. I don't want to get sidetracked because we're going to be in and out. I know you guys have things to do. It's your Friday. I need to get out on the way myself before these kids come home. So, all right. So Ownership. This is what we're talking about in segment 1. AI is not just coming, AI is already here. A lot of you guys are like, we have time. Sure, we do. But are you going to be ready? Are you proficient in these areas? And we're noticing that there are some heavy hitters making some pivotal changes in the industry right now. And so when people are making those type of moves and investing that amount of money, you need to be paying attention. That's where the attention should be. So we're seeing AI companies acquiring podcast catalogs, voice replication becoming monetizable, and automated production pipelines replacing full teams. And the part nobody wants to say out loud is your podcast is not just content, it is replaceable. So if your podcast has a point of view, then you can start to say, my podcast is an asset. If you're building something for longevity, you're thinking about how you're using AI. You are thinking about what is monetizable and scalable. You are probably on a great trajectory. If you've been doing this as a hobby, then it's time for you to elevate your game and it's time for you to start paying attention. So lots of changes happening in the world of AI, like I said. Data, voice, audience, that is all leverage. Just the same way you have your platform and the intention behind your platform is the same thing. Getting data, analytics, engagement, reactions, and then having a voice and amplifying the voice of others, right? And then audience, building an audience that's going to continue to come back. That is all something that can be packaged and leveraged and used to your benefit and also solve a problem for your audience so that you have now created an ecosystem around you. Are you building a podcast or are you building something someone would buy? There is a difference. When I first started, I already knew my exit plan. So now everything has been on that path, on that trajectory, thinking about the exit plan in mind and working backwards. Okay. Segment number 2. And you know what? We need some applause. Segment number 2. Crossover is the new currency, and this week proved it. Just a small glimpse. Black Effect Podcast Festival announced Crystal, the podcast host of Keep It Positive Sis, has been on Tyler Perry Studios. She used to be, I think, a fashion designer, or she used to be not a fashion designer, but she used to clothe a lot of our favorite artists. And then she moved into becoming an actress. And now she's a podcast host, doing all of these other things, of course. But now she has collaborated with Carisha, and they're going to be doing a live podcast show on the Black Effect Podcast Festival stage. And why does this matter? Maybe we're not fans of either Carisha nor Crystal, or maybe we don't know enough about them and their pedigree. But it's just a nod to 2 women, 2 powerhouses, 2 collaborators, 2 podcasts or influencers who are taking on the stage at the Black Effect Podcast Festival for the culture, for the podcast industry, and things that we should all be paying attention to. What does it mean to cross promote and collaborate and work with one another? How does that help the platform? What does it look like for you to be aligned in your collaboration when you're working with someone? How does that help the bigger picture, meaning the bigger goal, the exit plan that you had in mind? So I just think that this is a good look and things that we should be paying attention to and how we should approach our own platforms when you think about who should be a guest on your platform or who you should collaborate with. Or I see a lot of big powerhouses who are doing big webinars together and summits and all of these things. Are you thinking the same way? All right. So it's a cool situation. And I think we should all be paying attention to any collaboration, not just the Carisha and Crystal, but any collaboration, especially in the podcasting industry. And that is what is going to help propel your podcast forward, is compounding and working together and collaborating. So keep that in mind. Segment number 3, you guys, live experiences are the new monetization model. So this week also confirmed what I've been saying. I was on John Chang's podcast on Monday talking about this. Live podcast shows, live experiences. And like I said, I've been at it for the past 2.5 weeks, coming to you live every day, talking to you about the Black Effect Podcast Festival, talking to you about our Atlanta activation, our meetup. So if you don't know, and if you've been living under a rock, I have to tell you, of course, we're pulling up to Atlanta. Atlanta, baby, Atlanta, baby, 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 yeah. I should have put that song up in it, yeah, yeah, yeah. About the fact that we're going to be going to Atlanta. I honestly am probably overzealous. I haven't traveled in quite some time. It's been a while just with having kids, and then not wanting to leave my kids with my mom because she would be stressed out and my kids would run amok and run circles around her. Not that she is passive, but just that my kids can be wild. So, can't wait. Can't wait to see you guys Saturday next week. You guys, if you don't know, Carisha and Crystal. But also, we're pulling up to Atlanta and we're jumping now at a few stops. We're doing the content studio, a few games to kind of get us all acclimated to the city of Atlanta. We're collaborating, we're networking, we're going to have an amazing time. Shout out to one of our buyers who bought tickets. She says, I'm so excited. We're working to grow our podcast, and I think this event will be very beneficial. I cannot agree more. If you don't have tickets, visit the website, plantopodcast.com/Atlanta. All right, so live experiences are the new monetization model, segment 3 of your podcast debriefing. Downloads are cool, but experiences pay. So that includes live shows, festivals, pop-up, meetups. That's where the brand deals happen, collaborations start, audiences convert into communities because people don't just want to listen anymore, they want to belong. And if your podcast doesn't have real world extension, you're leaving money and impact on the table. Make sure you go back and watch some of those lives from this past week. You'll know what I'm talking about. Segment 4, content is getting faster, but trust is getting slower. I know you guys have been paying attention. I know some of you have felt it. If you are in the coaching space, a service provider, if you offer any products or anything, you've noticed something shift in the market. People are more stingy with their coin, but they will give and invest to people with a good cause, with a strong mission, and with a great story. All right, so here's where the tension resides. We're in a clip-heavy, short form, viral everything era. But at the same time, the podcasts that are winning are the ones building trust over time. So now you've got to do both. You got to attract attention fast, but build relationships slow. And that balance, that's where most people fall off because going viral is the easy part. But how many creators did you hear about on TikTok who were big for their britches, were not adequately prepared, and could not catch the 15 minutes of fame and missed out on some opportunities? The very mindful, very demure, that's just one of them when that story went viral. All right, so build the trust, but you need to have a strategy. So build the strategy. So even before everything pops off, I know you have all heard the saying, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You should already be strategizing. You should already be working towards, okay, if things just kind of take off for me, will I be adequately prepared? Number 5, and then we're going to be wrapping this up. Again, this is your podcast debriefing. If you're just catching me right now and you don't know who I am, I'm Danny Marie, your podcast bestie. Make sure you hit that follow button, come back. I am going to be doing this probably every week And I'm probably going to be doing this every day of the week, Monday through Friday. Now, next Monday, we are doing Launch Your Podcast Challenge. And so, by the way, you could go to planthepodcast.com/launch. And, I just like to show you better than I could tell you. So I might as well just tell you the link and pull it up at the same time, so you are not confused about what I'm talking about. All right. plantopodcast.com/. Hey, y'all. Happy Friday. Stick around. Make sure you hit that follow button if you're watching on Facebook. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, and hit that notifications bell. We're talking all things podcasting and AI in the podcast debrief today, Friday. I hope you are having an amazing Friday. I hope you're feeling the Friday vibes. Okay. All right. So it's still, here we go. Got it. All right. So launch your podcast. Launch your podcast with us. Here's what you get. 5 live sessions, 1 hour a day for 5 days. Show up, do the work, leave with the results. Lifetime replays. If you miss a day, no stress. Watch it back whenever you want. Playbook and templates, step-by-step guides, so you're never guessing what to do next. A cohort community, so you're not doing this alone. Connect with other creators on the same journey. Editor introduction will connect you with one of our trusted podcast editors if you want help polishing your episodes, and a certificate of completion. Finish the launch and get a certificate. Prove that you did the work. The podcast challenge starts next Monday through Friday. All right. And we want to see you in the room. And by the way, right now, if you use the code 2HOTPOD with our collaboration with Too Hot Media, then you can get a $50 discount. Mind you, this gives you a ticket to the bus in Atlanta. This gives you lifetime access for the launch challenge. This gives you access to the community. So it's just like a no-brainer. You should certainly join the launch, but also get that ticket so you can get all of the other perks as well. All right, this is the website, Black Effect Podcast Festival. And these are the podcasts that they're spotlighting. These are the people that are going to be on the panel. So make sure you visit their website at blackeffect.com/festival so you can get all of the juicy details about the Black Effect Podcast Festival. But mind you, we are completely separate. We're meeting up before people get activated, and we're going to just do a pre-funk in the city of Atlanta. We're pulling up to Pullman Yards. We're going to do a few stops. We're going to do some content shots. We're going to do some street team style content. We're pulling up and having a good time as a community of podcasters. So this is our website. Make sure you check us out at the plantopodcast.com/Atlanta website for details about what we're doing together before we enter the Black Effect Podcast Festival doors. Excited. Next Saturday is going to be a great time. I just cannot wait. I just cannot. Oh, I thought that was going to be longer, like New Orleans bounce. That's just a bling. Y'all, what am I doing? Still so many feels. I cannot wait until Saturday of next week. I just hope we have an amazing time. We've been working together for the past 5 weeks or so, planning, and we're excited to see some of your faces. Some people will be new faces. Some people will be familiar faces. Some people we've only been seeing each other through the screen. Hello. But how many of you know that you cannot continue to hide behind the mic, behind a camera? You have to go outside. I know for me, I'm talking to myself. It's time to get outside. That's the only way you're going to reach all of your podcast dreams is if you get outside and connect with the people in real time. And so we applaud all of you in advance for taking that leap. We're going to wrap it up. Again, your podcast debriefing, the real play ecosystems, not episodes. So if you take nothing else from this week, take this. The top creators are not building podcasts, they're building ecosystems. Podcasts, and then live events, and then community, and then a product, and then partnerships. Everything feeds itself. And once you see it like that, you stop asking, what should I post? And you start asking, what am I building? The word of the day, you guys, I told you I was going to come back to it, proximity. Let's land this plane. Proximity, because everything we talked about, AI deals, crossover moments, live events, opportunities, they all come down to one thing. Who are you close to? What rooms are you in? And who knows your name when you're not in the room? You can't collaborate from a distance forever. At some point, you have to show up. You have to show up. I know some of you guys are feeling nervous, but you have to show up. You have to show up, and we want you to show up, and we are making this an absolute safe space for you to show up with the podcast peeps. By the way, we're meeting tomorrow. You know me, I got to show you better than I can tell you. We're meeting tomorrow, the podcast peeps. We meet every Saturday, in fact. And we have our affirmation. So when we open and close, we're affirming ourselves. We talk about our week. We throw out our podcast episodes so that everybody can catch up on one another's content. And then we get into a topic of the day. Tomorrow, I think it's going to be a free-for-all because we've literally been planning the podcast festival, the activation in Atlanta for next week. We've been doing that for so long that I think tomorrow is just going to be a free-for-all. Just talk about whatever you're feeling, and let's just have at it and just say whatever is top of mind for us. And not so much about the festival unless people have questions. You know, we're going to gloss over it, but we're not going to make that the focal point tomorrow. But we want you to join us. Go to this link. Of course, I'm going to drop it in the chat. You won't even have to ask me. I'm going to drop this now. Go to that chat and register and join us. Every Saturday, we meet 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about everything. Nothing is off limits. We talk about how we're feeling. We talk about our wins, our woes, the angst of podcasting. We talk about tools, resources, awards, the importance as Black creators and in the Black media space and as podcasters, the importance of visibility. We've talked about scandals that happen with some of the podcasters that we used to follow. We talk about it all. Nothing's off limits. So yeah, that is all, you guys. Tomorrow, meet us 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us. I dropped the links in the chat. You should have access to the links. We have a good time. We kick it. And it's not just like an echo chamber, and it's just not one-dimensional and one-sided. We have so much diversity. We are people of color, but we have single persons. We have married couples. We have spiritual and religious topics. We have tech and AI topics. We have just everyday controversial or fun and salacious topics. So we're all different podcasters who all have a different interests, who have all found a community amongst one another, and we have an amazing time. Some of us are really doing well with our platforms. Shout out to a few of them who released products this past couple of weeks. And so they're all doing real cool things. And you should join us, right? Stop doing this alone. I'm not going to belabor the point. If you didn't get everything, make sure you go back and listen to it. We talked about the future of podcasting, AI, crossovers, live event monetization. I am Danny Marie. Meet us tomorrow in our virtual space. We're doing a Zoom, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link is in the chat. And then next Saturday, we're meeting up in person. We're doing in-person events. I'll talk to you guys more about the memberships, but I don't want to overwhelm you. I gave you a lot. And then there's no excuses if you don't have a podcast, but you were like, I need a podcast. I know that podcasting can be the funnel to everything. It can serve so many different audiences and so many different purposes. Hello. Shout out to White Collar. Shout out to White Collar, Kira, who is co-owner, co-founder of White Collar. More about them. The moment I come back and I touch down from the Black Effect Podcast Festival, I'm going to be talking to you about Juneteenth and what is coming up on the cusp. Shout out to White Collar, mentor to mentee matching app. And a lot of us, going back to that don't do it alone conversation we had previously, a lot of you have been struggling alone. You don't know where to go. You don't know the trade secrets. You don't know the industry connects. And so you need a mentorship. We need to stick together in today's climate. There's just no way you're going to scale in isolation. So that was the emphasis of today is yay. Thank you. I hope you have an amazing Friday. I'm getting ready to jump out myself. So go back and catch the replay. But we did talk about AI crossovers and live event monetization and why people need to come out and join us next Saturday for our in-person podcast meetup. So I am Danny Marie, your podcast bestie, and I'm out. Bye, y'all.
Bitch on the ride on my bed like a Mustang. See ya. I got a watch on my wrist, it's a bust down.